Join our free WhatsApp group to get daily latest updates. It's totally free.
Part 1.
You'll hear a customer talking to a sales assistant about placing an order with the store. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Hi, I'd like to get a cake and some flowers delivered to my friend. It's her birthday tomorrow.
Sure, ma'am. I'll just take down your details.
Yes, certainly.
Can I have your complete name, please?
It's Claire Monet.
You'll have to help me out with your surname.
Sure, it's Monet. M for Monaco, O for Oscar, N for Naughty, E for England, and T for Tesla.
Thank you for spelling out your name for me. Can you please help me with your address?
It's 1214 Sunset Boulevard, Staten Island, New York.
And your zip code, please.
10312.
That's 10213.
No, it's 10312.
Okay, 10312. Got it. So you said you wanted to send some chocolates and flowers.
I actually wanted to send a cake and flowers, but chocolates will also do if you don't have a cake.
We have both cake and chocolates, ma'am. Which one do you wish to choose?
Well, I'm kind of confused. How much do these cost?
Flowers and cake would cost you $25, and flowers and chocolates would cost you $20. However, if you order all three, flowers, chocolates, and cake, it'll only cost you $35.
That sounds good. I think I'll go for all three then. Will there also be any delivery charges?
Before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10. Is the delivery to be made in Staten Island?
No, it has to be made in Manhattan.
Then there will be a nominal delivery charge of $9.
Okay, that's fine, I suppose.
Do you want to write any message on the cake?
Yes. Please write Happy Birthday, Beth. That's my friend's name.
Okay. How would you like to pay for these?
Can I pay by credit card?
Of course, that's fine. Can I have your credit card number, please?
It's 5143
5143
6775.
6557.
No, 6775.
Right. 6775
8954
8954
1119.
1119. So that was 5143 6775 8954 1119.
Yes, that's correct.
And is it your name on the credit card?
No, it's actually my husband's name. It's Chris. Chris with a K.
So that's CH.
No, you didn't hear me. Chris with a K. That's KRIS.
Oh, sorry. Got it. And is the surname Monet?
Yes, it is.
Finally, can I have your phone number, please?
It's 9875463221.
That's 978.
No, it's 9875463221.
Yes, got it. Are there any special instructions for the order?
It would be great if you could get these delivered between 3 and 5 p.m. tomorrow since Beth won't be home then. I want her to get a surprise when she gets back home.
Sure, I have made a note of your request. We'll deliver your order between 3 and 5 p.m. tomorrow. You'll get a message on your phone once your order has been delivered.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
Part 2.
You will hear an academic expert talk about how to select electives at a business school. First, you have time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 14. When promoting their elective courses, some MBA programs appear to subscribe to the belief that bigger is better. The University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School's website refers to the unmatched scope of its nearly 200 electives, which it says constitutes the most electives of any B school. But about 100 miles northeast of Wharton, Columbia Business School heralds its more than 200 offerings as one of the largest and most innovative slates of electives at any business school. It's just like if you're going to go buy socks, or a house, or anything. More choice is better. But, however exhaustive MBA course catalogues are, students, particularly those who spend a semester on an exchange program abroad, can only take a limited number of courses. Although there is some variation, business school's curricula tends to consist of required courses during the first semester, and thereafter students choose from electives, which tend to be narrower in focus and can get as granular as derivatives and advanced derivatives, and advanced derivatives. Many students tend to focus too much on the short term when they select electives. For example, finance courses may serve students well initially, but as they climb the executive ladder, technical issues recede in the background, and training in leadership and management becomes more important. I've had many students say that looking back 10, 15, 20 years after completing their degree, they wish they had paid more attention to and taken more seriously the whole idea of leadership and organizational change. Leadership and management courses are among the best classes that any MBA student can take. Most skills can be learnt on the job, but how to deal with people and how to lead people can never be underestimated. Before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20. My suggestion is that you pursue electives focused on the following areas. The first in my list is globalization. Because most US MBA programs still approach business education from a very US-centric point of view, I always encourage business students to take elective courses that expand their geographic scope. Those electives might include global management, global technology management, and international legal and regulatory compliance. Second is presentation skills. A course on presentation tips is so important that it should be a requirement for all MBA students. Students can benefit from learning these skills in the classroom, which is a lower risk environment than the business world, and where they can observe classmates and receive feedback. At number 3 comes ethics. Students would be wise to take courses in ethics. I fail to understand how so many top business programs can still be ambivalent about formally and aggressively addressing business ethics. Whereas companies used to subscribe to the old paradigm that all was well and good in business if shareholders were happy and no laws were broken. The new direction is about professionalizing business practices and considering more ethical ones. Fourth on my list is non-profit management. Even students who aren't necessarily considering non-profit management as a career choice can benefit from coursework in the area of fundraising and non-profit finance. Non-profit management training equips people to do as much, if not more, with less, which is a great skill to take into smaller companies or entrepreneurship. Budding entrepreneurs might also consider enrolling in an elective course like Founder's Dilemma at Harvard Business School. This course teaches everything about starting a company, from how to convince a significant other to support one's entrepreneurial ambitions, to how to decide whether to launch a solo venture or a larger company. Taxes and business strategy can also be an interesting choice of electives. Although these are not generally considered a must-take class, they can help aspiring entrepreneurs better understand things like tax write-offs. I hope this talk helps you in some way as you decide which electives to take up in the next term.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
Part 3.
You'll hear a discussion between a teacher and a student regarding the student's essay. First, you have time to look at questions 21 to 23. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 23. Hello, Dr. Winston. Hello, Nelson. Come inside. You are here to discuss your essay, right? Yes, sir. The one on poverty trends across the globe. Yes, poverty trends it was. What was the exact title once again? It was monitoring... Right, here it is, monitoring global poverty and finding the way forward. Yup, that's the one. So, have you provided the sources for all the data you have used? Yes, sir. You'll find those details on page 48 of the report. Ah, I see. Yes, they are there all right. So, you have got your figures from a report published by the United Nations last year. Very well. And some of your statistics have been picked up from the internet. Yes, sir, that's correct. Right. I see. Let's take a closer look at your essay. Okay. So, I see you have started by quoting Professor Amartya Sen. Yes, sir. Professor Sen has done some groundbreaking work in the area of poverty alleviation. His work was really an eye-opener for me. Before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 24 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 24 to 30. I'm sure it was. I also see that you have made a mention of Keynesian economics. Don't you think it would be better to describe a little more about Keynes here, so that the reader can get some context on who Keynes was? I did think of that, but then I assumed that everybody would know about Keynes. Everybody within the economics department would certainly know that. However, this essay is meant for mass circulation, and students from other departments may not be aware of who Keynes was. You are right. I'll add some background about Keynes to the report. Great. Now, let's move ahead. Right. So, in the first paragraph, you provide 3 reasons for global poverty. First, an insufficient number of suitable jobs. Second, widespread illiteracy, especially in the developing countries of the world. And third, corruption that prevents the poor from benefiting from a lot of the schemes launched specially for them. I could have also spoken about factors like disguised unemployment, but I figured that these 3 were the most important ones. Fair enough. You then go on to claim that there is a solution to this problem after all. You say that modern civilizations can make use of technology to eradicate poverty from across the world. Have you backed this claim with some research? Yes, sir, I have. I have provided 3 specific examples of countries that have been using technology for poverty eradication. I see one of those countries is Brazil. Yes, Brazil has taken tremendous strides in eradicating poverty in the last decade. I want to highlight it as a case study that other developing nations can replicate. Nice. Did you also mention the importance of political will in bringing about such reform? Yes, I did. In fact, the Brazilian president has made it his mission to eradicate poverty completely from Brazil, and his passion is trickling down to all levels of government bureaucracy, ensuring that the reforms and welfare schemes are being duly implemented. Perhaps you can give some examples of other countries as well, such as India, in which political will is playing an important role in bringing about poverty eradication. Sure, I'll look into it and make that change. While you're at it, you could also elaborate a little on terms such as absolute poverty and poverty line that the layman might not be aware of. Overall, I think you have written an excellent essay. Thank you, Professor. I appreciate you taking time out to review my essay.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
Part 4.
You will hear a technology expert talk about control of the Internet. First, you have time to look at questions 31 to 35. Now listen and answer questions 31 to 35. Any network requires some centralized control in order to function. The global phone system, for example, is administered by the world's oldest international treaty organization, the International Telecommunication Union, founded in 1865 and now a part of the UN family. The Internet, however, is different. It is coordinated by a private sector non-profit organization called the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, also known as ICANN, which was set up by the United States in 1998 to take over the activities performed for 30 years. The controversy over who controls the Internet has simmered in insular technology policy circles for years, and more recently has crept into formal diplomatic talks. Many governments feel that, like the phone network, the Internet should be administered under a multilateral treaty. ICANN, in their view, is an instrument of American hegemony over cyberspace. Its private sector approach favors the United States. Washington retains oversight authority, and its governmental advisory committee, composed of delegates from other nations, has no real powers. This discontent finally boiled over at the UN's World Summit on the Information Society, the first phase of which was held in Geneva in December 2003. Brazil and South Africa have criticized the current arrangement, and China has called for the creation of a new international treaty organization. France wants an intergovernmental approach, but one fundamentally based on democratic values. Cuba and Syria have taken advantage of the controversy to poke a finger in Washington's eye, and even Zimbabwe's tyrant Robert Mugabe has weighed in, calling the existing system of internet governance a form of neo-colonialism. How did such a welcome technology become the source of such discord? Everyone understands that the internet is crucial for the functioning of modern economies, societies, and even governments, and everyone has an interest in seeing that it is secure and reliable. But at the same time, many governments are bothered that such a vital resource exists outside their control, and, even worse, that it is under the thumb of an already dominant United States. Washington's answer to these concerns: the Commerce Department's 4 terse paragraphs released at the end of June, announcing that the United States plans to retain control of the Internet indefinitely, was intended as a sort of Monroe Doctrine for our times. It was received abroad with just the anger one would expect, setting the stage for further controversy. Before listening to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 36 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 36 to 40. One of the most cherished myths of cyberspace is that the Internet is totally decentralized and inherently uncontrollable. Like all myths, this one is based on a bit of truth and a heavy dose of wishful thinking. It is true that compared with the century-old telephone system, the Internet is a paragon of deregulation and decentralization. In 4 critical areas, however, it requires oversight and coordination in order to operate smoothly. Together, these areas constitute the domain name system of addresses, with which users navigate the Internet and send email. First, there are domain names, such as www.foreignaffairs.org. Somebody must decide who will operate the database of generic names ending with suffixes such as .com, .net, .info, and others, a privilege that promises handsome profits. Also, someone must appoint the operators of 2-letter country code suffixes such as .cn for China. Second, there are Internet Protocol numbers, the up to 12-digit codes, invisible to users, that every machine on the network needs to have in order to be recognized by other machines. Due to a technical decision made when the network was developing in the late 1970s, in a world speckled with mainframe computers, the system was set up to accommodate only around 4 billion potential Internet Protocol numbers, far fewer than are now necessary. Until the Internet is upgraded, accordingly, Internet Protocol numbers must be allocated sparingly and carefully, since accidentally duplicating them creates mayhem for routing Internet traffic. Third are what are called root servers. Some form of control is needed in the actual machines that make the domain name system work. When users visit websites or send email, big computers known as root servers match the domain names with their corresponding Internet Protocol numbers in a matter of milliseconds. The database is the world's most important Rolodex. Yet, due to a technical hiccup that occurred when the network was young, there can be only 13 root servers, some of which provide data to mirror sites around the world. As a result, somebody must decide who will operate the root servers and where those operators will be based. Because the system evolved informally, the root server's administrators are diverse, including NASA, a Dutch non-profit organization, universities, the US military, and private companies. Today, all told, 10 root servers are operated from the United States, and one each from Amsterdam, Stockholm, and Tokyo. Fourth and finally, there are technical standards that must be formally established and coordinated to ensure the Internet's interoperability. They entail more than just addressing system and involve everything from how routers send traffic to parameters so that video flows smoothly. Ultimately, the standards let the Internet evolve.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.